Thank you for joining. Today, I'm a registered psychotherapist practicing in Ontario, and we are continuing to discuss different topics, and I'm answering to questions that you are asking. Today, we are going to discuss about anxiety disorder and why does constant worry happen. It's something very common but also very exhausting, and the state of constant worry might cause anxiety disorder. And many people often start by asking things like, nothing important is happening, but I never feel at ease, or I constantly feel like something bad is about to happen, or my mind is just won't shut up. And I want to say this very clearly that anxiety disorder is not being overly dramatic, it's not a weakness. Anxiety disorder is brain's danger system working on overdrive, overworking. And our anxiety and fear are the same things. Let's start with a small but important distinction. Fear is a response to something happening right now, and there is an actual threat in the present moment. However, in anxiety, on the other hand, sounds like, what if it happens? What if I miss something? What if I can't handle it? And anxiety is about things that might happen in the future or ruminating about things in the past and feeling anxious about it. And the problem is that in anxiety disorders, the brain experiences these possibilities as if they are already real. And your mind is working very hard to protect you. And these what if questions often show up when something matters deeply to you. Has there been a time before when you were worried about something might happen and you handled it before better than you expected? Oftentimes, when we are worried or when we are anxious, we are thinking about worst case scenarios and we are forgetting about times when we succeeded, when this didn't happen, or even in worst case, we handled it well. We forget about our resources, about the environment, and at that time, this our anxiety seems to be rolling the show, and that everything depends on anxiety, and we forget about other people, environments, or other things that we can do in order to handle this situation, even if the worst case scenarios happen. So, when you were able to manage anxiety and your worries, or when you were able to cope with challenging emotions or experiences, uh, how did you do that? What was there about you that helped you to cope with these feelings? And what does it say about you that you are thinking ahead? And you can notice your own resilience, strengths, that you are a caring person, a responsible person. And thinking about who or what helps you to cope with these feelings when things feel uncertain can help to find your resources. And where have you managed uncertainty before? What did you do to what did you do for that helped? And if these what if thoughts were much quieter, what would be the first sign that tells you that things are getting better? How you would be responding to these thoughts and anxiety, and what might you do so that it won't influence you so much? So asking yourself these questions and imagining answers to these questions can create possibilities of different thoughts and focus your attention on capabilities, on your resources, and what can be done instead of being stuck in the loop of ruminating and spending too much time worrying and being anxious. And so it's quite normal to have more negative thoughts and think about negative things more and to stay conscious because our mind is trying to protect us from possible threat, fears, or any danger. That's why people have more negative thoughts than positive thoughts. But you are in control and you can change this. You can change these habits, thought patterns, and you can learn to respond to difficult thoughts and feelings differently. And anytime, for instance, you will have a thought, what if something goes wrong? You can remind yourself and ask, what if I manage it? What if I notice in time? What if I'm more capable than I think? So also maybe redirecting this thought into possibilities, capabilities might help to change your emotions and think about solutions and what can be done at times when you notice these negative thoughts and worries. And therefore, we are not denying fear or anxiety, we're not pulling it away, we're accepting that it's there, but we can learn to respond to them differently and learn to direct your mind into different directions and possibilities, capabilities, solutions. So, how does an anxious brain work? An anxious brain is constantly trying to do one thing. Let's control every possibility so nothing goes wrong. This is the logic behind of overthinking and being anxious. And this intention is protective, but over time it can be exhausting and it might be difficult to stay focused, to do your work, and by time it might cause some problems. If you are spending most of time in your head worrying and being anxious, you might miss some opportunities. And that here what happens in your brain uh, at times when you are being anxious. The alarm system stays tuned on, so amygdala is overactive or reactive again, but this time it's also overly sensitive, and even small uncertainties can trigger heart palpitations, tension, a sense of restlessness, and if you don't know that this is caused by anxiety, you might have other thoughts such as maybe something wrong is happening with me, maybe I'm experiencing a heart attack, maybe I have a dramatic disease, and you might again think about the worst case scenarios. Therefore, it's important to know the symptoms of anxiety and that this is caused just by thoughts, and you are able to regulate it and to take control back. And anxious brain doesn't tolerate any empty space. If there is a gap, it fills it with scenarios such as what if I'm late? What if I say something wrong? What if I lose control? And these thoughts appear automatically. The person is not choosing to think it this way. If these what if thoughts are much quieter and however not gone completely but softer and less convincing, what would be the first sign that tells you something is different? What would you move? How would you move differently? Uh, how would others? What would others notice about you that's being different? And what would you be thinking instead? Maybe like how you would be responding to this thought. Maybe instead of what if I'm late, you can respond that I have played well enough. And if you will have a thought, what if I say something wrong? Maybe you can respond that I can handle small mistakes. And instead of what if I lose control, you could say I know how to steady myself. I have a lot of resources how to calm myself down. So maybe speaking to yourself kindly and compassionately during those times of negative thinking and worries might also help you to calm down. And if as a result of listening to this video, it was something helpful and something has changed, shifted internally in the way how you relate to anxiety, and if it was useful for you, what would you hope to walk away with? What would be different? Would you like to be more calm before events, more confident in conversations? Would you like to have a stronger sense of internal control, ability to recover quickly if something imperfect happens? So, understanding what kind of change you want to see, what you want to achieve, might help you to redirect your brain into possibilities and thinking about details of it, asking yourself different questions about how you might achieve this sense. This like whatever you are trying to achieve might help you to generate more solutions. And at times when you will have anxiety and negative thinking and worries, you can remind yourself of these conversations of what you have listened and try to imply these strategies uh, on that situation. And this might help you to remember and remind yourself that you can always take control back and respond differently. So, when have you arrived on time before, even when worried, and when have you said something imperfect and it turned out okay? Maybe it wasn't such a catastrophic. It didn't have such a catastrophic income or result, and even if you said something wrong, for instance, I'm also having some mistakes while speaking right now, confusing words, but it's not something big. Like it can be tolerated, and sometimes when we are fearing about the worst things, it doesn't always happen in real life. When have you felt yourself starting to lose control and managed to steady yourself? And what did you do in those moments? Was it breathing, pausing, using humor, preparation, reframing, or who helped you during those moments? Who helped you to stay calm? And what was there about you that was able to use those resources that were provided by other people? Which version of you was present there? Is it a calm version, patient version? What did you notice when you were able to handle stress and worries and anxiety well? Can you think of a time in the past when you were running late and handled it responsibly, or you misspoke and it didn't define you, and you felt overwhelmed and regained control? And what does it say about your ability to recover? Often anxiety predicts catastrophe, and history usually shows competence. And if being late, saying something wrong, or losing control did happen, what would you realistically do next? Because I suspect that the real story isn't I wouldn't fall apart. It might be I would apologize, I would breathe, I would adjust, I would continue. And that tells me something powerful that we don't need to be perfect. We just need to trust our abilities to recover. And from what we have just explored, there is already evidence that we can do that. And we have a lot of resources and capabilities to cope with anxiety, with worries. And when you are experiencing anxiety, your body stays in a state of tension. For instance, try to notice what's happening in your shoulders, jaw, stomach, or whenever you feel anxious. Try to direct your attention to your bodily sensations, and you would soon notice that anxiety is slowly decreasing because your mind is going shifting into different direction, and you stop paying attention to your thoughts, or you stop you stop trying to suppress anxiety, and at that moment anxiety would decrease. And if you will be able to notice your physical sensations, you would also notice that they are slowly decreasing and you are feeling more relaxed. For instance, right now you can close your eyes or just look at one certain point. Try to notice one sensation in your shoulders, jaw, or stomach, and just notice that sensation is here, and take a slow breath. Notice the worry thoughts. Maybe you have some thoughts such as what if I'm late, or I'm and try noticing that you are noticing the thought that you might be late. And maybe you have some thoughts such as what if I say something wrong. uh, Tell to yourself, I'm noticing the mind predicting mistakes, and you are not the thought, you are the one who is noticing the thought and providing space for these thoughts and feelings. Imagine that you are the sky, and thoughts, sensations, anxiety, they are the weather, and say silently, there is anxiety present and I'm the one who is noticing it. And the sky is not damaged by storms, but you have enough space to handle them. Widen your awareness, notice your body, sounds, and the room around you, lights. Anxiety might be here, but so the rest of your world. In this moment, who do you want to be? Do you want to be calm? Do you want to be present, courageous? Anxiety can come, but what do you want to stand for? And what's one tiny action that moves towards what's important for you? And anxiety can ride with me, and while you are concentrating on your work. This practice doesn't try to remove anxiety, but it can help you to notice your body, unhook from unhelpful thoughts, shift your perspective, and take action anyway. And now bring your attention to the room and let's continue with the presentation with the video. Why are some people more anxious than others? It's a very important point. Anxiety are often more common in people who take a lot of responsibilities. They are used to being in control or who had a lot of adverse experiences and who had to stay strong for a long time. And these people learn something very early on in their life. If I think about everything, nothing bad will happen, but the brain cannot carry the level of vigilance forever. Over time, this constant alertness becomes the norm, and it's not a personality flaw, it's a learned survival strategy. However, you can always relearn, increase your awareness, and you can learn to respond to these thoughts and feelings differently. And if you need more support, you are always welcome to come to therapy, or you can read books and ask questions. And it's always possible to relearn and change your habits of responding to thoughts and feelings differently. So, the way to reduce anxiety is not to think more, in fact, the opposite. Uh, when we stop arguing with anxiety, it decreases. For instance, saying that won't happen, it's irrational, I'm overreacting, doesn't convince the brain because anxiety doesn't come down through logic, it comes down through safety. So instead of it, try saying anxiety is here right now and I'm also here. For instance, if you have anxiety, anxious version of you is here, but also there is also a calm version, a patient version, a resilient version somewhere. And when you start noticing those versions, they wake up and they become more active. And that would be the point where you would start to notice some other feelings, some other versions of you, and it will be easier to take steps towards what's important for you at that moment instead of staying stuck with these anxious thoughts and feelings. So the body must calm down before the mind can. Therefore, because anxiety lives in the body, the mind cannot calm down until the body does. So, slowing down your breathing, feeling your feet on the ground, or noticing your shoulders, and taking small actions might also help you to calm down anxiety. As we have already spoken, noticing physical sensations or moving your body, changing positions can also help to turn your attention towards something else. As a result, these secondary reactions will not contribute to increase of anxiety. So, as we have already discussed, not every thought we have is a fact, and anxious thoughts create possibilities, not truth, and you don't have to believe everything your mind tells you. And avoidance fuels anxiety. For instance, if you feel anxious and if you procrastinate, if you avoid, your mind interprets it as if there is a real danger and thinks if you are avoiding certain things, then probably there is a real danger and starts to generate more anxiety. And next time when you will try to do the same things, since you have already avoided, you will have even stronger anxiety. Therefore, every time gradually trying to expose yourself to situations that feel fearful or scary or anxious would help to teach your brain that there is nothing to feel scared, that you can bear it, and by time anxiety would slowly decrease. If you are receiving psychotherapy in clinical settings, we are slowly, gradually helping the people to face their fears and anxieties, starting from the least ones and going into the worst, the most feared situations. And according to research, this is called exposure. As a result of exposure, the level of anxiety is decreasing considerably. So if you find yourself constantly worrying and feeling anxious and asking, why am I like this? Uh, why am I like this? Instead of blaming yourself, try to redirect your attention towards something different, or ask yourself, can I change anything right now? And what would you like to do instead? Like if you were not worrying at that moment, if you were not spending your energy and time for worrying or staying anxious for hours, how you would like to make use of your time and what you would like to do instead. An anxious brain is not a bad brain, it's simply a very tired brain, and with the right information and the right support, the brain can relearn how to feel safe, and uh, this learning is possible. And if this video resonated with you, if you saw yourself while I was speaking here, don't forget to subscribe and to follow more content. And you are always welcome to ask your questions, to leave your questions in the comments. And in this channel, we will continue to talk about anxiety, stress, mental burdens, and without judgment, without blame. And in the next video, we'll be exploring what are some toxic thoughts and why does the mind always choose the worst. See you in the next videos. Thank you for joining my channel and listening, and hope it was useful for you. See you next time.